Okay guys, so I'm going to show you the first way that you can transfer your drawing onto your watercolor paper, and that is with tracing paper. So the tracing paper that I use is the cheapest one you can find at your art store. So the cheaper the better, because I have tried the more expensive, better quality ones, and they're actually really thick, which makes it hard to see and to transfer. So I prefer the cheaper, cheap ones. So all you do is take your tracing paper, lay it over your drawing, and you can see I went ahead and really outlined my lines that I want to trace over. You don't have to get all the detail. I typically don't even draw it onto my drawing unless it's going to help me with space and getting the sizes correct. So leave out the detail, but go back over your lines and make them more intense, the lines that you want to transfer. So for this, I have also bumped up the size of my technical pencil here. So it's actually, if you have just normal pencils, if you can find a deeper, darker, thicker lead will actually help with this. So put the tracing paper over your drawing and you're just going to trace your design. Okay, I have got my design traced in, and you can see how I really only traced the bird. I didn't worry about the branch or any of that stuff. Those are all details that you can add directly onto your watercolor paper. So once you have the trace done, what you're going to do now is you're going to need a piece of paper, blank piece of paper underneath your surface, because what you're going to do is flip your tracing paper over. So now I'm on the back side of my drawing. It should be reverse. And I'm going to take my pencil and outline, and you can see how I'm really pushing that graphite onto these lines because this is actually going to work as a transfer. So what happens if I really put some graphite on these lines and I flip it back over, the same process is going to happen. Once I use this to trace onto my watercolor paper, ta-da, the line is there. So you're going to trace the whole, or you're going to darken the lines of all your bird here. And once you do that, we will transfer it onto the watercolor paper. Okay, so I've outlined all my lines on the back side. Now I can flip the paper over. I'm going to take my piece of watercolor paper, decide where I would like my bird to be, where he's going to live, and I think that's good. Now I'm going to switch back down to a smaller lead. I don't want this to be so thick when it goes onto my watercolor paper, and you don't want to press down too hard because you will put dents into your watercolor paper, and you don't want to do that. So just use just slightly harder pressure than you would if you were drawing, and trace right back over these lines. Be careful not to move your paper if you want to tape it. That's always a good idea, so that you don't move it around, because once you start, you kind of can't stop. Okay, once you've got it all traced in, you can remove the tracing paper, and ta-da, you have a bird now ready to go on your watercolor paper. So sometimes these lines can be, they might skip, so you just need to come back in and add a few details. And also sometimes they can be rather intense, so I will just come back and lightly erase some of the darker parts, just so that you can see it when you paint it, but that it's not so blaringly obvious after we paint that we have all these pencil lines.